Welcome back to Coffee and Conversation. And for all you Audie fans, I have no idea where my bad boy is. He has been around because I got a box yesterday. Something came in the box, and I let him have it. So, and I also left that craft paper that was used to pad out the box. I left that inside the box. So he not only has a box, he has a box full of paper. And he has been playing in that pretty much all day long. I don't know where he is right now. He knocked the box over, still played in it when the box was on its side. So he has been having a good time. I was glad he had the box to play in because today has been cold and overcast. And, Audie hates bad weather. We never really know what his definition of bad weather happens to be at the moment. In the summer, it can be that the weather is too cold. In the winter, it can be that the weather is too hot. We just don't know. So he's been running around, but I haven't seen him in a couple of hours. He may have exhausted himself rolling around in that box and knocking it over and playing with all that paper. But who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But I did want to share that with you, even though, because, see, it's important to me that you understand, he isn't always angry with me. And even though he's not showing up, it's not because I'm on his bad list. I'm actually on his good list because he knows I was the one who gave him that box. So we're going to take a quick break for the intro, and we will be right back. So, let's check in on my adventures in cutting the grocery bill. So, just to give you a recap, I started this on the 23rd of March. That was just a random figure. If I had actually thought about it, I would have started it at the 1st of the month, just to make the math a little easier, but I didn't. It was the 23rd of March. I looked at my grocery shopping for the previous month, so that would have been February 23rd through March 23rd. And I found that it was $708.90. Then, between March 23rd and April 23rd, the next month, and I know I made it hard on myself by starting on an odd day in the month, but during that period, and at this point I was trying to just verify, is that really what I'm spending? Am I spending $700 a month? So that month, $695.62. So yeah, I was spending $700 a month. So I decided I had to cut that down. And I thought a good working figure would be 50%. Just cut that right in half and go down to $350. And at the end of that month, which would have been May 23rd, my total was $332.67. So yes, I did it, but I just squeaked in under the wire. That caused me to lose confidence and think to myself, I've got to just tear this apart and start doing it a little differently. And that's when I decided I was going to try to make something of a game out of it, to see if I couldn't just, enjoy cutting costs instead of looking at it as something with panic. And so as of June 23rd, so this is the most recent month, the total, $274.90. So I managed to get well below my $350 mark, which is not, this is not like, oh, this is great. This is where it should be. It should be under $300 a month. I really think so. I thought I was being extremely generous by giving myself $350. And as I say, the first month, oh, that was not easy. That was scary. But once I turned it into a bit of a game, I had an easier time of it. Now, that $275, and I'm just rounding up, of that, one of the things I realized was that although I have managed to cut my food waste substantially, I am still wasting possibly 5% of my food budget. Because in the past month, I threw away 3 loaves of bread. One of them was untouched. Not even so much as a slice of bread came out of that package. And I have to look at that. We'll talk about that in a bit. But that's something I have to look at. My produce spending, which I always thought was the high point of my waste, was not. Mostly because, fortunately, we have this community, and some of our viewers had suggested doing things like buying frozen produce, frozen chopped up fruit, frozen berries, whatever. And avocados, which have always been my bugbear in the kitchen, because I would go out, I would say, oh, I would like to have an avocado. I bring it home, and by the time I'm ready to eat it, which would only be maybe 24 hours later, the avocado was rotten. It was dead. So I actually did find a source for frozen diced avocados. Lovely. So that's in the freezer. That's not going to get wasted. But because I was aware of the fact that I waste produce, I was able to get a handle on that very quickly. Immediately, I started looking for alternatives, for ways to cut down on that one waste area. So, what was the learning from that? Well, buying frozen instead of buying fresh. There we go. That basically did the trick for me. Am I still buying fresh produce? Yes. But I am buying things now that I know do not go bad before I eat them. And so I have to keep a close eye on that still, because it was a problem area. But fortunately, like I said, we have this community. People had ideas, and they shared them. And the idea of buying frozen fruits was just never even occurred to me before, frankly. It just did not occur to me. But that has been a real boon in terms of not wasting produce. Am I still wasting produce? Yes. Because last month I threw away about 1/4 pound of asparagus. I simply just did not eat it within the time frame. I threw away 1/2 package of fresh spinach. Again, didn't eat it in the time frame. But fortunately for me, that was it. Everything else was eaten. Largely, and here's the trick for me, and I wanted to pass this along to you, because of course our community has helped me out. The reason that I was only dealing with things like avocados, the asparagus and the spinach were in the refrigerator, out of sight, out of mind. Most of my fresh fruit stays on a counter where I can see it. So, when I saw the banana was starting to get a little spotty, yep, the banana got eaten. And that has worked for me to keep things right in my immediate line of sight, so that I am keenly aware of the fact that they are there. It's not an abstract thought, thinking, oh yeah, well I know I bought bananas and, No. Basically, I need to have it like right in front of my nose or I'm just not catching on. But it did help. So that part of my general food wastage, I think, it was better than it had been in the past. We're not perfect yet. I would like to have a month, now this is sort of my new goal, I would like to have a month where there is not a single bit of food wastage. Now, I have some advantages in not wasting food, and those same advantages are my liabilities. And that is, I am by myself, meaning I am not buying things unless I know I want to eat them, unless I know I like them. They will get eaten. And I'm accustomed to cooking for myself, so I generally do not overproduce meals. Or if I do, I'm doing it intentionally with the thought in my head of having leftovers. Now, I know that is part of living alone. You have absolute control. When you are cooking for a family, even if it's just, your significant other and the kids have all grown up and gone, cooking for other people means that you have to cook and plan to cook for someone else too. And you also have to plan for that person wanting to eat the things you are cooking. And that can be quite a challenge. A few of us are lucky we have spouses who will eat anything we throw in front of them. Not everybody is that fortunate. And for most of us, we choose what we want to eat and we allow our significant other the same privilege. But still, I see this, this being by myself as a benefit. And it does tend to reduce food waste in the ways in which being alone reduces waste that families experience. Leftovers piling up in the fridge, that sort of thing. I don't have to contend with that. Where it's a liability is in other areas. As I said, I threw away 3 loaves of bread. I did say that, didn't I? I hope I did. I may not have. It may just be, haunting the front of my mind. Tell them about the bread. I threw away 3 loaves of bread. One of them untouched. And that has become a problem. So, because our viewers, oh, bless your hearts, thank you. Like I say, as long as I have this YouTube channel, I don't need a therapist. One of our viewers had suggested that I freeze bread. Now, I hadn't gone to that point yet, mostly because I was switching my bread consumption. I was born in the middle of the 20th century, which means I grew up on packaged, store-bought bread, Wonder Bread, Sunbeam bread that is about 96% preservatives. That's it. It's just like somewhere there might be a grain of wheat in that loaf of bread, but most of it is chemical preservatives. At this point in my life, I'm trying to get away from that and to eat like real genuine bread that isn't so dosed up with chemicals. We don't have any bakeries near me, like none. There is a Panera 5 miles away, and let's face it, if I am reduced to buying bread at Panera, I might as well buy it at the grocery store. So that's where I'm getting my bread, at the grocery store, but I am buying the bread that's baked on the premises. Now, this stuff is not made on the premises. It comes over in frozen wads of dough that they then cook in the ovens on the premises, throw it out. But here's the interesting thing. That bread is usually running anywhere from a third to half the cost of any of the packaged breads on the shelves, even the store brands. So I can go into Walmart, for example, and get a loaf of the Walmart baked bread for a little over $1. It's ranging maybe $1.10 to $1.25. Whereas if I go down the bread aisle and get a package of bread, it's usually running at $2.50 or higher. So the preservative-less bread is actually a better deal financially than the bread on the shelves that's, mostly chemicals. So that's the good thing. The bad thing is, of course, I wasn't treating it as something that should be frozen. My idea of a loaf of fresh bread is, we must preserve the freshness. Nah, I got to stop that. Another thing I had begun doing was buying bread in half loaves, which when I actually sat down and did the math was very stupid. Some companies, the bread I was buying was Sara Lee. And Sara Lee half loaves of bread, when you check the unit price on that, it's 22 cents an ounce, whereas a full loaf of Sara Lee bread is 13 cents an ounce. Okay, that's a significant difference. I mean, the half loaf is almost the same price as the full loaf. Am I saving money buying the half loaf of bread? No. Is it still full of preservatives like all the rest of them? Yes. So why was I doing that? The reason I was sucked into buying the half loaf of bread is because since I was wasting less, I felt better about it. Just that simple. It was like an emotional Band-Aid, that half loaf of bread was saying, look, you're not wasting food. It's like, no, I'm wasting money instead. Please tell me what the difference is. When I started to look at that, I realized, my whole approach to bread buying was irrational. I mean, absolutely irrational. I have no excuse for this. It wasn't making any sense. And that's when I pulled back and said, well, I'm going to go back to Walmart and I'm going to get their baked loaf of bread with fewer preservatives in it. I am going to slice it up because you're supposed to slice your bread before you freeze it. I'm going to slice it up, take out what I think I will be able to eat in 2 or 3 days, and freeze the rest. Again, this all comes from living by myself. With a family, I probably wouldn't have to worry at all about where the bread was going because people are always willing to eat bread. Most of the people I know really enjoy toast. I don't even own a toaster. I don't. It's not something I enjoy. I could care less about toast, so I'm not eating bread that way. What I do with my bread is I will make grilled cheese sandwiches, which I like. Oh, and by the way, our viewers, and these are the people who are giving me great ideas also, scold me because I will get Kraft American cheese and make my grilled cheese sandwiches with that. Oh, and for those of you who have criticized my cheese, I'll have you know I actually went out and got some real cheese at the grocery store, although I really need to go in and get it at the deli case because the kinds of cheese that I like are the kind you get in the deli case. They're unusual cheeses, so you're not going to just find them packaged up on the grocery store shelves. Anyway, knowing what it is I do with the aforesaid bread is going to make things a little easier. Can I reduce that waste? That is going to be my goal for this coming month. I got a couple of goals. I want to stay below $300 for my groceries, not $350. I've decided I can easily stay under 300, and 300 I think is more reasonable than 350. I think 350 was a little too generous. Stay below 300, and I would like to work toward eliminating the waste altogether. Now, is that going to be possible? No, absolutely not. There are always going to be things that you buy in the grocery store, whatever you cut into a piece of fruit, and you find that, it just wasn't as good on the inside as it was on the outside. There's always going to be some small amount of waste, and I accept that. But here's the thing. Let me give you some figures. Americans are waste. Oh, this is America. So my friends overseas, you don't have to worry. I'm not going to criticize you and your food wastage. I'm sticking with the U.S. We waste, 60 million tons of food a year. Like, whoa. Turns out that 60 million tons is about 40% of our entire food production. Almost half of it is getting wasted. Let me get you the dollar figures. Okay, $218 billion in waste. Now, having said that, when they compile figures like this, they're taking everything, not just household waste, the stuff that you or I might feel compelled to throw away. This is going to be food waste on every stage of the food production process, and this will involve wasted food from the farms, from the trucking, from going into the grocery stores, right down to, for example, food waste in hospitals, which, by the way, I'll give them a pass on, because I do not want hospital patients in any way to be eating compromised food. If anybody needs high-quality food in their bellies, it's people in hospital beds. So I totally understand if food is coming out of a hospital cafeteria, and if the patients are not eating it and it's getting dumped, oh well, I get it. It's sad, but that just needs to happen, because you can't underfeed your patients in order to try to curtail waste. So how are you going to do that? I get it. But it is a lot of waste. And even though we as consumers do not need to take full responsibility for this, I feel we do need to take some responsibility for it. Now, I also believe that the grocery retailers need to take some responsibility too, because they are discouraging us from buying smaller quantities. They make it very, very difficult to go in and get a small apple that weighs. By the way, I have been checking every time I go into the grocery store, because I mentioned this on a video. I will look through the apples and check to see if I can find an apple that is about 1/4 pound. That's my goal with apples. If I can find 1/4 pound apple, that's the one I'll buy. And if I don't, the apples are staying, because I do not feel I need to eat an apple that weighs 1/3 pound. Oh, and by the way, that's still a small apple in my local grocery stores, just because the grocery store wants to throw out this massive, massive apple to me. Gosh, and they wonder why we're all overweight. I mean, really, they are actively encouraging us to eat more than we really need to, perhaps more than we really want to. So there's the food waste sort of as a global issue. Now, I tend not to be very motivated by global issues. I tend to be very motivated by the issues that touch my life personally. And so yeah, we're dealing with 60 billion tons of waste. No, that's not going to motivate me. We're dealing with $218 billion worth of waste. No. But I will look at the 5 to 10% of my grocery budget that is being wasted by food that I'm throwing away. So for me, the small picture is going to win out. So where do we go from here? New plan. I am buying bread at Walmart where I can get, well, I'm not going to say this is the world's best quality bread. What I can say is it's white bread with no preservatives. And I'm satisfied with that at this moment. I may revise that later, but having grown up on Wonder Bread, you got to know almost anything's going to look good to me. So I'm going to get my bread at Walmart. I'm going to slice it up. I'm going to freeze most of it, leave some out to eat. And if I do end up in a situation of waste, it will, come on up, it will be one slice rather than a full loaf. Well, if you want to come up, come on, they want to see you. They do. I told them that you were hiding because you don't like the weather. So that's what I'm doing about the bread. I'm sticking with my reduce waste in produce. That, fortunately, again, I have some good strategies that I've gotten from our viewers. I'm good with that. But this month, and this will be the 23rd of June, we'll finish this little block of time I'm using. 23rd of June, I am hoping to have my grocery spending under $300 and my waste as close to zero as I can get it. And we'll see how that works out. But that is my newest addition to this. And you know, by the time I'm done with this, because this is going to be my 6-month plan to get a handle on my grocery spending. Once I hit that 6-month mark, I will probably have come up with half a dozen other things I want to address. Because as I go through the process, I'm seeing more and more points of failure. I'm looking at things saying, yeah, I was spending too much on groceries because I wasn't shopping carefully. I was spending too much on groceries because I was wasting too much food. And I will find other things that are right now opaque to me because I have not uncovered these problems yet. I will uncover more as I go along. Deal with one, another one will crop up, and I'll have a chance to see where that one is going. So that is what I have for you. As always, of course, I really want to hear your comments because you've been very, very helpful to me. And I hope that other people are reading those comments as well and benefiting from it. But so far, so good. And here we go. Turn around. There we go. Oh, yeah. There's the cat face. Okay. So, that is what I have for you today. Sort of a catch-up on the grocery spending, a bit of an overview on global food waste, which is why we should all try to stop doing it. But here's the thing. Oh, I should throw this out, just so we don't sort of leave things up in the air. All of the food strategies that I've shared with you in the past, things like knowing what's in your freezer, knowing what's in your cabinet, using the older items before you use the newer items, menu planning. The home economists are all saying these are strategies to eliminate food waste. So we've already got the strategies. What I'm doing is, and what I hope you will all do along with me, is I'm locating the areas in my own personal spending that are problematic. and I'm addressing them. And the more I become aware of them, and the more, well, frankly, the more input I get from the community, the more strategies I will have for dealing with it. And obviously, because the community is here for all of us, if you want to join along, I would love the company. And remember, we've got a whole group of people here who are very, very clever about this sort of thing. So tap into the advice the community is offering. I know I'm going to, because, hey, so far so good. It's worked well for me. All right, so thank you for being with us. I'm glad we got a few seconds of Audie time. As you can see, Audie's not angry with me, which is good. Any day my cat is not mad at me is a good day. So we're going to take a look at a slideshow on the way out. Thank you for being with us. I hope to see you again next time. For those of you who join us for Just Chatting, 8 o'clock New York City time this evening. And in the meanwhile, have a terrific day.